Hey everyone, what's up? This is Dr. Charlie Johnson, physical therapist, and in this video I want to share with you a chat I recently had off the cuff here with a member of my private coaching program, the Glute Relief Accelerator program. Her name is Patsy. She's 73 years young, as you'll see in the video, and she's been dealing with back pain and sciatica problems for 40-ish years. In fact, she had a back surgery before I was even born in 1986. Gives you an idea of how old I am, right? But she still struggled. And in this video, she shares a bit about how our program benefited her and how she was able to get to 90% improve within 1 week of joining our private coaching program after 40 years of pain and without ever chatting with me. This is actually the first time we ever chatted. And so she was able to teach herself, provided the tools, resources, knowledge, and yes, a little bit of support from me, how to resolve 40 years of pain. She's still got a little bit to go, but check it out and pick up on the things that helped her to see if they can help you.
I am old. It's this technology thing. It just drives me crazy.
Well, you're just not probably used to it as some other folks, that's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, it's good to have you here.
Well, I think you have a success story here.
Cool.
You know, I tell you, it's just amazing. The forward bend is the best for me.
Good.
You know,
Yep.
from that thing. And then backward, it still kind of stinks a little bit. But, you know, from where I started to where I am now, it's amazing. Yeah, it is really cool. And there's just a little bit of twinge left. But, you know, I've gone from 90 to 20. I mean, just really, I don't know what else to say. I think I'm cured. Okay, bye.
It's good knowing you, Patsy.
Yeah, it was great. It was worth every penny. I would have never gotten out of that pain if it hadn't been for this.
Awesome. Well,
But
hey, I appreciate it.
yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
And did you ever meet with me before like this? I mean,
No, because, you know, immediately I had such success with that and just calming it down that, you know, and then technology and we just don't mix very well. So that's why I never checked in, because I was doing so well, you know. And then like, okay, he says I have to check in, so I better check in. So
Cool,
here
cool.
I am.
Cool. Well, just, yeah, I mean, lots of people can't believe it, right, when I talk to them. And number one, there's this virtual barrier, right? And actually for you, I'm surprised, nothing against your age there, Patsy, but, you know, like most people are pretty old school where they're like, hey, like, there's no way, like, you have to be able to feel me and touch me. And like, you know, like, how's this going to work? Well, it works. I mean,
You know, yeah, I can do this. And so it's really, really helped. And whenever it does act up, like I had the grandkids a couple of weeks ago and it did, you know, flare up, but I just went back to my somatic.
Yep. Essentially,
And,
it's a way to sort of scan the body, if you will, right, and sort of de-escalate the threat to the nervous
right.
system.
Well, I don't know, but it sure works. And but then, you know, with the exercising and stuff, like this morning, I painted the porch,
Yep.
you know, up on ladders, twisting and everything, and it kind of started acting up. So I just went and did my tracking, and then did some forward bends. I'm finding those work the best, you know, the knee to chest stuff.
Yep.
And I'm back to okay.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. And so things over time are just getting better and better, right? You're just,
Right.
you're just calming
Right.
it down and allowing things to heal up. Yeah.
So I think I'm a success story, and I'm really glad I signed up. And I think this is probably the only thing that would have ever worked, you know, because I was fighting it so hard in the beginning, you know, and it was just excruciating. You know, the worse I fought it, the worse it got.
And
yeah.
Totally. So if I can, right, you know, tell me a little bit about that, right? So lots of people when they're in pain, they want to get out of pain, right? And so there's this outcome dependence, we call it, right? This idea of like, okay, I've got to try to solve this problem. And so if I just work harder to try to solve it, it'll go away. And if I do another stretch, it'll go away. And if I think about it more and I research it more and I go on YouTube a little bit more, there's got to be something out there. And what does all that stuff do?
Well, they just aggravated it worse and worse and worse. And that's why I finally reached out to you, and I thought, okay, let's give this guy a shot. And, you know, it's the only thing that made any sense, because I was doing all those stretches and the back bends and this and that. And it just got worse and worse. Now, here's another thing I did. You know, years ago, I noticed if I sleep on a real hard surface, it would kind of self-correct.
Mm-hmm.
So I took, my husband's going to kill me. I took the mattress off the bed and I put like those egg crates from the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and that seems to help. Now, am I crazy or
Well,
I don't know.
we knew you were crazy. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, does this mean I'm escalated crazy? Because the hard surface seems like it helps when I
Yeah.
sleep on a hard surface. Or is that
Yep.
something, does that make sense? Or is it something in my head? Or
So
I don't
here's
know.
the cool thing, right? Hopefully what you've learned so far from going through the program is that there's not this cookie cutter approach, right? Even though the program brings you through a process, that process allows for flexibility to find what works best for you, right? So at the end of the day, like theoretically, you can try to explain why maybe a hard surface is better or worse or this or that, but it might vary for everybody. And so part of why I teach people the tweaks, the movement side of things, and this hunting for motions process, how to find, for example, the motion that you found, you're doing the one motion, right?
Yeah.
And then also the brain side of things is because if you just approach it from one front and do one thing, there's often other pieces that are missing. So you kind of see the puzzle. It's like 3/4 there if you do this, but then you're missing 25. Or if you do this, then you've got a third of it, but you're missing the other 2/3. And so at the end of the day, look, the goal at the end of the program is to intuitively find, right, that which is going to allow your body and or your brain to calm this thing down and do what you're designed to do, which is heal, right? And so if for whatever reason, sleeping on hard surface works for you, right? And that's something you found through the tweaks. I can't exactly tell you why. I could go into a lot of theory about why. Many people do like hard surfaces, but there are just as many people in the program, Patsy, who are like, when I sleep on my couch and I'm sagging in, I love it, right? And they might both have some type of arthritis, or they might both have a herniated disc. So they might have the same diagnosis or label, but they respond differently to different things.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the idea. So here's the thing, right? Like you found yummy. And so keep going after that. Keep going down the path mentally and physically such that you can completely, basically erase this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I do notice when I get under stress, if I get anxious about something, it comes back. It seems like it aggravates it. So I have to realize, I'm just kind of freaking out over nothing. Like my husband yelling at me, go do something. And and then I just can calm it down. But it helps me a lot to realize that, it's just, stress kind of thing.
Yep. And you'd been dealing with this for a really long time, up and down, correct?
Oh, for years, 40 years. Yeah.
40 years. That's a long time, my friend.
Well, I had surgery in 86. And then I did fine for a long, long, long time. And then, I would do something, it would act up and I'd get it to calm down. But this last time I couldn't get it to calm down. That's why I finally reached out. I think my brain was just so saturated with being convinced there was something wrong in there,
Yeah.
And then my daughter-in-law's mother had a rod put in her back a couple of months ago. And I went to visit her in the hospital. And that's when I signed up for you. After I looked at her, I thought, it didn't look good at all. I gotta do something. Yeah. So this has really, really helped. It really has,
Cool.
I wouldn't say it's 100% perfect, but it's 95%.
Yeah.
There.
That's really cool. I appreciate you sharing. And of all the treatments that you've tested or tried in the past, right? Like where would you say it fits as far as just value and impact, right? On what you're experiencing?
Oh, I give it 5 stars. Yeah. I mean, it's the only thing that's ever worked, and I think I've been fighting it for so long.
And so like, as you went through program, right? Like, again, I have a lot of people I chat with, right? And so it's like, what's one of the biggest sort of maybe, I don't know, takeaways and or things maybe that, if you could, right? To the lady who maybe already had the rod in her back, right? But if you could talk to people like that, like, what would you say?
I tell them to try this first, just because if you've had it for a long, 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 long time, it just seems like it's just ingrained in like your brain is so used to going there, making the pain come back. And even the lady that's had the rod in her back, they told her she's going to be a year recovering. And I want to tell her so much, you really just follow this program, because I'm sure she's going to get it in her brain, and
Yeah.
they're going to get her on all kinds of painkillers. And then the next thing you know, she's going to be taking those painkillers, and
Yeah.
one thing leads to another. Yeah.
Yeah. And you would definitely say like that the sort of brain reprogramming portion of the program, if you will, was that
The
the most
best.
valuable part of the whole process?
Yes, yes, yes. To me, yes, yes. Because I mean, within 5 days, I was with that out of pain. Within 5 days, I mean, it was so fast. I thought, oh, well, this is great. Actually, I think it was even faster than 5 days. I mean, it was almost immediately. I thought, well, and then I told you that my son was a neurosurgeon, so I was telling him about it. And I said, well, so what do you do with people in pain? He goes, oh, I just send them to pain management. And I
Can
said,
he
well,
send someone to me?
yeah, that's what I told him. I said, you got to check out this Charlie Johnson. I said, he is the best. I did tell him about you, though. And he
Cool,
just kind
cool.
of pain management. I think that's just a kind of a holding tank, isn't it, for people when they send
Yeah.
them to pain management? It's just kind of, I don't know what to do with you, so I'll send you over here
Yeah,
kind of
well,
thing.
yeah, it's a little bit of a dish me off, unfortunately, for most people. And I'm not saying there's never any positive response to the meds, the shots, the surgeries, or things like that. But for most people, people really need to understand what pain is and how to process pain, right?
Right,
And
right.
they don't teach that stuff, right? In med school, they don't even teach it to the medical doctors. And so this stuff is really fascinating. And so when you take the best of both worlds, which is understanding sort of the role of the brain in pain, right? Understanding how to shift your perspective and sort of change the way that you perceive pain, right? And
Right.
there are activities to do that, right? Scanning the body, like confronting the symptoms versus running from them. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do this, as you've learned, right? But then you also take the movement side of things, because people in pain get afraid of movement. You can't disconnect the two. So then when you teach people, right, that they can move in ways that are safe, and in ways like you found emotion through a little bit of a process, right, that can reduce threat and immediately calm your symptoms down, then it puts the person in control, right? Because
Right,
then
right.
you're the only one who
Mhm.
can control your brain and your body. And so I had all this stuff in my brain, and I used to be really good at fixing people, and I said, well, that's really cool, but guess what, like you, Patsy, need to know how to fix yourself, because I don't live with you, right? And so I started teaching people how to unite the brain approach with the body approach, right? With the goal of increasing safety within the system, if you want to call it that, and helping people have some levers to pull so they're actually in control of their symptoms, right? Versus pain management is an external factor, right? And so people are in pain, which is an experience inside here, if you will, right? That's unique to different folks, or that's unique in your case to you, right? Or if I had pain, to me. But then you have this external locus of control, this pain management doc telling you, take this, do this image saying you're broken or you're not, right? This shot. And because you don't control or own those things, if you will, they're not within your ecosystem, your brain and your
Mhm.
body, you get dependent upon other things to solve your problem, versus the whole time for 40 years, right?
Right.
You had the levers, but you just didn't know how to pull them, right?
That's right. That's right. It just kind of brought everything
Mhm.
together for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, so this is the first time I couldn't make it go away, on its own. Before, I would always sleep on something hard and then just start walking again.
Mhm.
And that always cured it before. But this time, I think I had it so riled up that I couldn't, I didn't know how to calm the brain down at
Yeah.
all. And the more I tried, the worse it got. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think I'm a success story so far.
Okay, so hopefully you picked up on a couple of the nuggets there. So big thing for Patsy, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the most valuable thing for her that she had not been exposed to is helping her understand what pain really was, and how to shift her perspective and her mindset around the pain she was experiencing. Because after 40 years of dealing with pain, she had actually trained herself to experience pain. And when she realized that it was no longer dangerous via, collecting some evidence and going through the process that I outlined inside the program, she was able to essentially let it go and keep it from something that prevented her from living life. And just based off that, she saw massive results even within just a few days. And then within her 40 years of trying everything and anything, including surgery, she never took a step back and was never able to kind of see things scientifically. And because most people that you see with these problems, most people you see for these problems offer treatments that are sort of, a sheet of exercises and or cookie cutter where they do lots of different things. It's really difficult to get an idea of what's helping and what's not. And so I taught her my 8 steps to hunting for emotions, basically a system I teach people to know immediately if something is valuable, not valuable, and or going to make them worse. You're not wasting time and energy just trying things, hoping that they work. We see an immediate change. Patsy was able to identify one motion that could resolve her pain. She coupled that with some tweaks to her daily life. The way she slept and the way she moved. She combined that with a change in her mindset and a shift in her perspective after understanding really what pain is and what pain means. So she optimized her healing environment. Then she began to add in some basic motions, in this case just one motion, which continued to calm down her nervous system and allowed her to heal. So she essentially just did a couple things to resolve 40 years of pain after trying many things. So healing doesn't have to be hard. Often people make it harder than it really needs to be. And if you've tried lots of different things and you feel as though your case is complicated, I get it, but realize that the more complex the problem, the simpler the solution needs to be so you can stay scientific and actually figure out what's going to work for you. So hopefully this was valuable. If you want to learn the process and or be introduced to the process that Patsy used and that we use, and we teach to people all around the world dealing with these back, butt, and sciatica problems, be sure to click the link below in the description. Also, I'll try to post it up here in some little card thingy. Where you can get access to a workshop that I run, which shows you, again, the pain relief process and kind of helps you see inside the way that we help people resolve these painful problems. Okay, so if that's you, click that. Check out the free workshop. Also, be sure to let me know your thoughts and comments below.